In this episode, I am going to configure the Digikeijs DR4024 Servo modules. Stick around. Hi, and welcome to a new episode. Today I'd like to share with you how I configured my DR4024s. I have 5 of these, and for this test purposes I am connecting the power here from my DCC, and it is looped over to the other connection here. It needs to be powered on both sides, otherwise it won't work. But on my layout, because of too much load, I had to power these separately with 12-volt transformers, minimum 2 amps. So, like I said, for this test, I would be looping these, being powered by the DCC connection coming from my Z21. I connected the DR4024 with 4 servos and an LED, because the DR4024 is has 4 servo outputs plus an additional 4 12-volt on-off outputs, depending on what ID you configure port number 1, which is the first servo on the left here. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 12-volt on-off will be ID 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this will occupy 8 IDs if configured in this manner. For starters, we are going to start with 8 different IDs, 8 different ports, so you can configure them any way you like in the future. There is no ID set on port number 1, so what we have to do is press the configure button. As you can see, the LED goes red from green, and I am going to enter a port number. I am going to use port number 10, and I'm going to say OK. Now, the minute I activate that port number 10, the LED went off and the green one is on. So now it knows that this one is number 10. Just to check, we're going to move the servo on the left. There we are. That's number 10. 11 would be the next one. 12, and so on and so forth. 14, might as well do it. Oops, sorry, I skipped it. 10, 11, 12, 13. My mistake. Now I'm going to 14. 14 is the LED that you saw that just went on and off here. That is the 12-volt on-off switch that I mentioned earlier. You might say, what do you need it for? Well, I personally would use this to activate, I don't know, signals, but you don't need to connect an LED directly. You can connect a relay, a 12-volt powered relay, or you can step it down to 3 volts or 5 volts, whatever relays you have. And you can then have a different circuit to power the LED signals that you wish. So you can use this in different ways. As to how to change the travel on the servos, it's pretty simple once you understand it. So by default, all these modules have an ID of 9999. If you have more than one on your layout, they will still all be 9999, but you will only address it if you press the programming button. Now, if we want to configure the travel on the first servo, we would go to number 10, ID 10, and just to check this is the correct servo. So that is the last servo that was addressed on this module. So once I press the program button, the red light is on again. I'm going to change over to a locomotive with 9999 as an ID, and I'm going to change the travel doing so. So I wanted to travel this far, there, and to confirm it, I'm going to press 1 on and off. Now I'm going to do the other side, and I'm going to press function 2 on and off. This way, the distance the horn traveled on each side has been stored. I can put this back. I switch off programming mode, and now the module is back in operating mode. I'm going to change to my points, and I'm going to change. I'm going to make the first servo move. And if you notice, the travel has changed. Unlike the one next door, it's got a longer travel. They all started with this kind of travel, as you saw in the beginning, but the first one has been modified for whatever reason you want to do that. Now, if you want it to work the opposite way, let's go to number 11. Let's activate this. Okay. So now I am going to locomotive 9999, press the function button, and I am going to I'm going to change the direction, tell it where I want it to go. But I'm going to press function 2 first, function 2 on, and function 2 off. And then I'm going to go on the other side. And I want it to go all the way there. I'm going to press function 1 on, you can see it here, and function 1 off. Switch the programming mode, and we can go back to our 11. So now it's thrown, it's turning left. When it's straight, it goes right. If I go to number 10, straight, it goes left, and thrown, it goes right. And as you can see here, number 11, which is this one, is straight at the moment. If I change it to thrown mode, it goes to the other side. So now they're working the opposite way. In case you install a servo because of limited space, I've met this problem myself. When you have a few points which are very close to each other on a layout, and you want to fit these motors under there, sometimes space is limited. So you have to make them face the other way. And of course, when you throw the point, it's reversed. So when you want to reverse the point to work in the correct way, now you have to do this method by first saving function 2 and then function 1. I'm going to change the setup here now. I'm going to reset it to factory default, and I'm going to show you a different way of how you can use the DR4024. Okay, we're back. So I've reset the DR4024 to factory default. It's easily done by setting CV number 8 to 8, value 8. But before you do it, you need to press the programming button, and then you transfer, then you set the CV. Otherwise, it won't work. And when you do this, you can see the LED flashing. In fact, I'm going to do it now. 1, 2. You see the red LED? Watch it. It flashed. The servos will move a bit. And we're done. Important that everything moved. Now, I need to change a CV on it to change it from one mode to another. So at the moment, port number 11, ID 11, is inactive because we reset it to default. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the programming button. It's going to sniff number 11, and there we are. So now that one is number 11, and number 15 is the LED. There it is on its own. Now I want, I don't want this to remain an 8-port device. I want number 15 and number 11 to work together. For example, I have siding and I want to park something there, 1, 2, 4 locomotives, whatever, but I don't want the power to remain on because they do consume a bit of power while they are just parked there, you know. I mean, the circuitry is on all the time and they're waiting for a command from the command station. So I want to disable totally that siding. So to start off with, I'm going to program CV47 on this device. From 0, I'm going to change it to 1. The default is 0, and I'm going to change it to 1 to change the mode. First thing I need to do is press the programming button, as always, and I'm going to submit a value of 1 to CV47, and there's going to be some movement there. As you can see, it moved around. When I'm done, I press the programming button to switch it off, to switch it over to operating mode. And now, ID 15 no longer functions. Go back to 11. It no longer functions. Oh yes, sorry, it does, sorry. And as you can see, look, the servo is turning and the light is going on and off. Let me change it over again. Wait a minute, I pressed the wrong button, sorry. I'm trying to see through the camera. Not easy. Okay, you can change it back. So you could use this device, this option. You can put a relay on it in such a way that when the siding is, when the points on the siding are thrown, the locomotive or the train, whatever, can go inside the siding. Once you are clear from the point, you can switch the point back, and it kills the power to that siding. And you have to worry about it. You know, less consumption, the train or trains are no longer powered, you know, less wear and tear on the components, no heating, and you know, I mean, you're never going to hit go and the train's going to run off by mistake, you know. I mean, there's no power there. So that would be one of the options you can use this particular feature for. Again, if you use relays, I'm sure you can dream of something and you know, and come up with an idea. And if you do come up with a different idea, it would be nice to find it in the comment below. So I hope this covers what you might need to set this up. One thing I wanted to tell you before I go, when you set up the ports on this, we sniff this one at port 11, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now that it is it only has 4 ports. The next module, you do the same operation. You press the programming button on that particular module if you have more than one. And for example, you set up a point here. You pick up an ID, for example, 20. And you sniff 20. and each module will have different numbers and different port IDs. And it's important that you don't mix them up. I like to use stickers on the side to mark which port numbers I have on these devices, not to get confused, because I have about 5. This will be the 5th one. So it's easy to get mixed up. Anyway, hope this helps. Let me know how it goes if you need this video, and hope to catch you soon. Have a nice day.